Have you been overwhelming your clients without even realizing it? This is part two about living in a world of endless choices, but less is actually more. And why is that? Because we have to stop confusing our customers, our clients, and those who are trying to hire us to speak. So get ready to unlock the power of simplicity. This is part two. Are you a coach, consultant, or service provider who's frustrated with the growth of your business? You're in the right place. I'm your host, Laurie-Ann Murabito, and you're listening to Be in Demand, where I talk about how to leverage speaking opportunities to grow your business, get positioned as the expert, and monetize your expertise. Let's get on to the show. Welcome back. And I got a lot of great feedback from part one. So I'm glad that you enjoyed that. In part one, in case you have not listened to part one, I want to encourage you to go listen to part one, which is episode number 242. And I really dove deep into offerings and choices and this thing called the paradox of choice. And the more options that you have for somebody to choose from, the harder the decision is for them to make. It's harder for them to make. It causes that fatigue, and that you actually end up overwhelming them. And even if they do make a decision, most of the time they are actually going to regret their decision. So think about the last time you went to the grocery store and you had to buy something new, and you just look at the shelf and it's like all these different options. Some have this and some have that, different brands, different size boxes and containers. And it's like, oh my. You end up standing there and staring at the shelf, wondering which one should you get? Well, we don't want that to happen to your customers or your clients. We want to decrease the overwhelm. And this is why there is the magic of three. This is what I have been saying. I call it the power of three. It's why you want to have three offerings, three different speech titles, is because it makes it super simple for whoever is deciding which one they want. So just to recap from last week, I really dove into the power of three. So when you only have one offering, it's like, here you go, take it or leave it. And the person who's on the other end is like, but I'm not sure I want that one. I don't feel empowered. I don't feel like I have a choice. But then when you have two options, it's like, well, if you don't like this, then you have to take that. That doesn't feel good either. But when you have three choices for somebody to choose from, it's like, oh, if I don't like that one, I still have these other two to choose from. So I use this, and this structure works really well for speeches, but also I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about how I use this in my proposals when speaking or when working with a client. But let me just talk to you about time and money. If you don't have enough time, you are willing to pay to learn your lessons to get from point A to point B. But if you don't have enough money, then it's going to take you time. If you don't have enough money to invest, it's going to take you time to learn what you need to learn to get from point A to point B. That's why having coaches and mentors is so key. I still have coaches and mentors in my life because they're going to help me get from point A to point B so much faster than trying to DIY it on my own by watching YouTube videos, signing up for all of these different programs or courses, or downloading lead magnets. Does any of this sound a little familiar? Yeah, sometimes saving money does not save you time in the long run. So let me explain to you my process for writing proposals. And this is exactly why I have three different options for speeches on my website. And this is what I tell all of my clients and my students inside In Demand Signature Speech. You want to have three different options. This way, a meeting planner comes to your website. They see the three different speech titles, speech topics that you speak on, that you offer. And again, they have that choice, not a laundry list of what you can speak on. It's like, here's what I speak on. Here are my keynotes. Here are my presentations. Here are my workshops that I am offering at this time. It makes it so much easier for people to make a decision about those three. Now, when it comes to proposals, little different process. I still have three, but this is the way that I look at those three that I am presenting to somebody. The three are Here's A, and I'm just going to call them A, B, and C. But A is going to be the cheaper one, B is in the middle of the road, and C is the more expensive option. So here's my thought process. What is the absolute minimum price, minimum service that I am willing to offer this person or organization that I'm not going to feel any regrets? I don't want to feel gypped. I don't want them to feel gypped, but what is that option? And I talked a lot about this in episode 173, where I took you behind the scenes of a corporate speaking event where I used a proposal and I dove deep into the three different options. So that is option A. Option B is the one that I really, really want to do. So it's going to be everything that was included in A plus a little more. Now, C is what I would call your top of the line. This is your VIP option. There are a lot of buyers out there that are VIPers. I know myself that if I'm going to a conference, the first thing I look at is what is the VIP option? I want to go to those private networking events. I want the swag bag. I want to sit up close to the stage. So I look at those, and there are buyers. There are people who want to hire you. There are corporations that they will opt for the VIP option. Remember, buyers have egos also. So I want you to take a look at that list that hopefully you made from part one. What are all your services? List out all of the services that you have. So if you're listening to this while you're at the gym, while you're doing errands, while you're driving in the car, just be sure to come back to this episode. Either email it to yourself or text it to yourself. I want to make sure that you go through this exercise. List out all your services. List out all the things that people are able to buy from you. And this is something that I do frequently because one of the things that I've noticed lately is I had people that were starting to ask for certain type of service. Well, that has now become an offering in my menu. But again, it needs to fall into the one of those three different categories. And it's a little different than the proposal that I just shared with you for speaking. So your products and services for clients, it should be basically like, here's the basic package. And that can be DIY programs. Those can be small programs like paying to watch a replay of a masterclass that you did. Your middle of the road, your basic package. And then there's your VIP option or your high ticket premium. And this is basically, if you think of this to go from your basic, standard to premium, it's like each step has more and more of you involved. There's more time. My private clients have access to me 24/7, essentially. There is a way that they can communicate with me and they don't have to go through email. We have a texting and messaging service with my private clients. That way they get their questions answered within 12 to 24 hours. They also get my eyes on their speeches, their pitches, how they are handling different meetings before the event and after the event. Because I want them to look like a pro right from the get-go. And if they're working with me one-on-one, they have my energy, my mind, my expertise, my experience in their corner. Now you take it a step down, and my standard would be like some of my group programs. My group program, In Demand Signature Speech. It is a program where I am in it. I am with them, but I'm doing it one to many. And then I have my basic. This could be like evergreen programs. You can actually buy In Demand Signature Speech and do it at your own pace. These are different, like the speaker agreements. These are different one-offs that people can purchase from me, like speaker agreements and also my pitch templates for speaking events and also podcasting. So I want you to go through your listing of offerings and packages, like what can people buy from you, and put it into one of those three categories. Either it's premium, it's standard, or it's basic. A, B, or C. And this is probably a great time for you just to reevaluate them. You're like, what hasn't anybody bought in a while that you're still offering? Because maybe it's just had its time. Maybe it's time to just put that one away. Do people understand the difference between each and every one of your programs or your services? Make sure that there are clear distinctions. that each one has like clear boundaries about what's included and there's no overlap. And then I want you to do the exact same thing for all of your speeches. And when I say all of your speeches, remember, I really only want you to have 3 different speeches that you are offering people, that you are offering meeting planners. So here's your homework. I want you to, when you go through that list, I want you to decide, do I still want to do this? Is this something that still interests me? Are people buying this? Yes, no. Maybe I need to change the price. Maybe I need to make some modifications. Maybe I need to subtract some things from my menu. Remember, let's make it super easy for people to make decisions to hire you for your services, your products, and most importantly, your speeches. So I hope you got a tremendous amount of value out of this particular 2-part series. And having choices is wonderful. We all feel like, wow, I have a choice, but too many choices leads to overwhelm, leads to choice fatigue, also leads to regret. So I think in keeping that in mind, keeping your menu very simple is really going to help you out in the long run. You may constantly feel like, but I should add more. I should add more. You're not Walmart. Walmart is trying to appeal to a wider audience. And that's why when you walk in to the store, you've got automotive, you've got groceries, you've got clothing, and you walk into any of those different departments, and there's so many different options, so many different colors, so many different sizes. Again, they're trying to appeal to a wider audience. You are not Walmart. You are not trying to appeal to everybody. You're trying to only appeal to your ideal clients. So let's keep your offerings, your services, and your speeches, your topics and titles, super simple for people to say yes to you. So till next week, I want you to be in demand.